Hey everyone, welcome to Poplar Preparedness. In this video, we're going to be walking through pictures and my assessment of what I'm seeing here in the Pittsburgh area of food shortages, things that we're missing, so that you can compare that to your area. Please do chime in on what you're seeing in your area. Give a location, whether it's general or whether it's specific, whatever you feel comfortable with. Let us know what it looks like on your store shelves in your area, whether you're seeing the same things, whether you're seeing different things, whether there's other things that are out, but let's jump into those pictures and see what we're seeing. Folks, first we started off at Aldi and checking out things there. The Mexican cap on the end of the aisle, short on tomatoes and other things like that. Not too bad there, but vegetable oils do seem to be still in relatively short supply there. We're also going to see a very similar thing over at Walmart. But when it comes to mac and cheese, just no mac and cheese at Aldi. When we see they're struggling to keep the mashed potatoes on the shelf there, that's going to be something we're going to be coming back to, the whole potato situation. But look at this. The flour definitely needs to be restocked, but there's an issue there. But sugar, just the whole pallet gone of sugar, and notice how the tag on sugar is gone as well. So whether they just don't have one to replace it there, that's something that's concerning. Let me know if you're seeing any shortage or flour issues in your area. We're going to go over to Walmart shortly with these pictures, and you're going to see what it looks like over there. Corn. Canned corn just seems to be disappearing off the shelves. Places are just not having it. Canned potatoes are disappearing off the shelves. If you go online and you try buying canned corn from Walmart or canned potatoes, you're going to run into barriers. You can still do it in some locations. Now, Walmart.com does take into account where you are. So there are different distribution networks and such like that. So we've seen that before where one area can't order certain products, but people in other areas can. But I'm seeing issues, and I have been seeing off and on issues with corn as well as with canned potatoes. So cream cheese, we're still having holes in certain areas of cream cheese. Cream cheese prices at Aldi have been jacked up. They went from like 79 cents up to $1.39 for the blocks. So that's now suddenly in stock, but people just seem to just buy all the tubs. And so for certain kinds of tubs, we're not seeing those on the shelves anymore. So they've just shifted one shortage to the next item shortage, and that's what we're seeing there. In the chip aisle, now I know this isn't high priority or anything like that, but I am seeing that potato chips out there are in short supply. We're seeing a lot of holes on potato chips, particularly at Aldi. And then seeing things like this, regular pretzel sticks up to $1.98 per bag. They used to be like $1.30 something, or even less than that. I think I remember them being like 99 cents, but now $1.98. It's like I used to get those things, but not anymore. Rice, regular rice, gone. No regular rice. Down the bottom left corner of the screen, you can see that. That's where the regular rice is. There's some jasmine rice there, but not regular white rice. This is Walmart, and we're still continuing to see in the breakfast frozen goods section, we're seeing a lot of holes still. This is like almost going on 12 months now. We've just been seeing continued holes in the breakfast areas of the frozen goods section. What is going on with that? And people say that there's no shortages, there's nothing happening. Why can't they plug these holes? It's not like, well, they put a bunch on the shelf, but then people just buy it all out. We're seeing that they're just not restocking some of these items. Those factories are not producing enough of these items, and stores are not getting regular shipments of certain products. And yet, because they purchased the shelf space, we see these holes sitting there on the Walmart shelves. We're seeing the same kind of things in the frozen treats section, like popsicles and stuff like that. We're just seeing some items just not being restocked. In the frozen dinner section, it seems like similar things are happening there, but not to the same extent. But I know that that's premium space there. But we're seeing the frozen potato, like French fries section. We're seeing those holes reappearing there. We are hearing that there are serious shortages out in Idaho and other places where potatoes normally come from. We're hearing that producers are not getting their orders of potatoes. And so whether they're making frozen French fries or other products, they're not getting the potatoes they need, and so they're not able to make their products to put on the shelves. Coffee looked pretty good at Walmart. I'll say that. Look at that. I mean, it looks pretty well stocked. However, I will say this: the great value coffee has all but disappeared. There's that little section there in the middle there, but it used to have a whole lot more shelf space, and you'll notice there's not all that much choice there. They have a whole bunch of Maxwell House, and they got a whole bunch of Folgers, but that's taking up a lot of space, real estate that they did not have before. Now, I know that they keep saying it comes out of corporate, whether shelf space is used for certain things, but it sure seems like it's coming out of corporate more and more these days, that they are to expand the use of different products to fill gaps. In the canned fruit section, we've been seeing these kind of problems for quite a while. Whole sections of the canned fruits just missing, particularly the generic, cheaper fruits. People want to buy canned fruits, and they're not finding them. We are seeing that the peanut butter shortage is starting to alleviate a little bit. We are seeing peanut butter coming back on the shelves, but as you can see, smaller jars, and they're putting those all the way down at the bottom shelf. They like to do this when they want to slow down the velocity of products. They put them on the bottom shelf or they put them on the top shelf. I know people keep saying that's not what they're doing. That's not a real thing. But look at that. That is absolutely a real thing. They are not putting things in the prime real estate at eye level and right in those golden shelves right there. They're not putting them there. They're putting them in inconvenient locations in order to slow down the velocity of those sales. That's just what they're doing, folks. If you want to deny it, go ahead and keep denying it, but that's exactly what they're doing. Mustards, we're seeing a lot more kinds of mustards coming out of the woodwork. It looks like they're scraping the bottom of the barrel to come out with more varieties, but the mainline varieties of mustard are in very short supply. Most people buy yellow mustard. And what are you seeing here on the shelf? You're seeing very, very little yellow mustard, and you're seeing name brand, and you're seeing small bottles. You're not seeing big bottles. The mustard shortage is a real thing. It's biting people over in France pretty hard, and it is getting them to look for substitutes out there. The Dijon mustard, the brown mustard, is a different plant than the yellow mustard. And it's the Dijon brown mustard plant that has had a lot of the real issues out there. But it looks like people are hunting for substitutes, and they're moving over and they're buying up the yellow mustard. Vinegar. Vinegar continues to be in short supply. I know the optimists out there are like, wow, it's because everyone's canning out there. I do not share your optimism. I believe that there is an issue there with them producing vinegar, because vinegar is not a hard thing to produce industrially, and the process is very straightforward. What do you see here? We're missing rice again. The 20-pounders of rice, gone. And even the 5-pounders are depleted severely. We're seeing there's not even like multiple varieties of 20-pounders, and we're just like out of one. We're out of all the 20-pounders of rice here. And combined with what we just saw over at Aldi, that's very concerning. When we go over to the meat aisle, we're seeing that those chicken cans are starting to get depleted. That has been our firewall in the canned protein section. As prices have spiraled upwards, you'd imagine that they would never run out of canned chicken at the prices they're selling them at, but they are starting to run low on canned chicken. Other products, canned products out there, there's less of it. They're spreading out things, not things that you would necessarily want to buy. This is more cat food being spread out all over the canned meat aisle. Not the high level, classy canned products that you're used to seeing. Generic canned tuna continues to be in short supply. There is some here right now, but you can see that that's probably going to disappear very shortly. It doesn't look like they did a full restock. When it comes to the powdered mashed potatoes, we're seeing that there are a lot of holes there. They're not doing a very good job of restocking some of those things, particularly in the generics. People are trying to watch their budgets, and they're going after the generics, the great value brands. They're not going after the name brands as so much, and we're seeing the generics hit hard, and it looks like they're not able to restock the potatoes like we're normally used to them seeing. So salt, poof, gone. No salt, no generic salt there. You want to buy name brand salt? Go right on ahead. I don't know what the difference is between fancy salt and regular salt, other than you get a cool little picture of a girl with an umbrella and it costs you more. But you don't really have that option. You get to buy the more expensive salt because that's all they have. When we get to the cooking oils, we're seeing continued shortages. Weeks upon weeks upon weeks of lots of big gaping holes in the vegetable oil section. That is an issue, folks. They're not producing enough cooking oil for what people are buying. And then when we see what's happening over here in sugar, generic sugar, they do have it here, but that's getting low. And if you look at the large sacks down there, most of them have been depleted. That is concerning, especially when seeing what happened over at Aldi, that they don't have it there. Now, pasta does seem to be coming back into fashion here. We're seeing pasta showing back up on the shelves after a long absence. They seem to be getting back on the horse with that. A bunch of different kinds of bottled water seem to be out. We see pallets of water in the aisleways. We see pallets of water here and there, but then we see other kinds of water just almost depleted and completely out. Natural disasters and disaster responses do tend to reallocate a lot of the palletized bottles of water to disaster zones, so that eastern Kentucky may be depleting a bunch of that bottled water. That could be what's going on with that. I don't know, but something going on with palletized water, because they seem to have either too much of it or not enough of it, and it's like it seems to be both at the same time. What's going on with the supply chain there would be very interesting to hear from an industry insider, because clearly some places have way too much of it, and then other places don't have enough. And that usually doesn't seem to be a problem, whether that's just a trucking issue or a logistics issue. When we get into the heavy creams, like coffee creamer, we continue to see issues in coffee creamers. When we look at margarines and stuff like that, a lot of holes. Why are there holes in margarine? And you can't help but wonder if that has something to do with what we're seeing over in the cooking oil aisle, because margarine is just made out of vegetable oil and such. I will say this, the cream cheese looked pretty good at Walmart. We are seeing some products being moved around, but we see more variety on the shelf than I was seeing several weeks ago. So kudos to them to getting those things back on the shelf. I don't know if this one's a fluke, but I know that they've been jacking the prices of cream cheese up, and I've gone on cream cheese strike. I'm not going to pay that much for cream cheese. Well, it's not so much I'm angry about anything. It's just I don't like cream cheese that much. I mean, I like it, but I don't need it for anything really. It's kind of a treat. And when prices double on cream cheese, I don't need it that much. Eggs look pretty good, actually. But still, when I say pretty good, I'm still seeing holes here. Why am I seeing holes in eggs? That's not really like an extravagant product or a weird product. That's a mainline staple product. When it comes to chocolate milk and other milks, seeing a lot of holes. I'm seeing a lot of holes. They didn't have any chocolate milk over at Aldi. I was hoping to grab a half gallon over at Aldi, and they just didn't have any. There was one bottle that was floating around. I believe it was the Mexican section and the Mexican food section, but of course that's not refrigerated, so that didn't seem like a good idea to grab that. Lunch meats at Walmart still seem to be pretty severely depleted. A lot of holes. And even in the bacon section, a lot of holes there. A year going on these quote-unquote food shortages, why are we still seeing lots and lots of holes? And if you keep telling me it's transitory, I'm going to say, how many years is transitory? Because that's an issue. Now, we are seeing fresh chicken out there, but it's $3 a pound fresh chicken. And I don't know about your budget, but $3 a pound for fresh chicken is a little much for my budget. We're seeing $6-7 a pound for cheap cuts of steak. Now over at Sam's Club, we're seeing this whole section used to be produce. I took a picture of it. They reduced it used to be like 6 bins, and now it's 2 bins of watermelons. 6 bins of produce reduced to 2 bins of watermelons. That was pretty noticeable to me. And then this whole freezer bank section all the way around was something going on with it because it was just empty. Now, I don't know if that was just a short-term issue, but we keep seeing these freezer issues. We keep seeing these cooler issues more and more out there. We're not used to seeing this much issues with the refrigeration at these stores. What is going on with that? We had a whole video about that, but we keep seeing those things. Every time I go out, it seems like I'm going to see some freezer bank or some cooler section out of commission. That's not normal, folks. Tuna fish, canned tuna fish, a lot, not all that much there. Once again, I don't know if they're just about to roll out a whole new pallet. You can't ever tell with that. But one of the things I really did notice is in the whole food section, looking up at the next level, I'm sorry, but I don't usually store my excess underwear in my kitchen, and yet here over the salad dressings is underwears and Pampers pull-ups and diapers and definitely not food stuff stored above the food section. And if you look, I didn't take more pictures, but and in the other food sections over back behind there, I'm seeing the same thing. They were products that were not more food for that section. There wasn't food, and on top of that, they're using that space for non-food items and such. So take that for what you will, but it looks like their inventory is getting pretty thin, and when it comes to non-food items, their inventory is very bloated, and we're hearing that at a national level in the news that they have a lot of stuff that they need to stock somewhere, and they have way too much of this stuff, but they don't have enough food. So, folks, do watch out for yourselves. Please do keep your reports coming of what you are seeing out there. Check out this video right here on the screen that's appearing now. Otherwise, I will see you later. Steve Poplar